What's good? What's good? I'm back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. For those that don't know, my podcast is pre-recorded and I go live on TikTok when I'm doing any sports-related topics that I'm not reacting to a video. So I'm live on TikTok, and I'm also pre-recording for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, um, BitChute, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, and the audio version goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much, much more. And anybody that comes in on my TikTok live and tries to get me to accept them, sorry, but I cannot interact as I'm pre-recording as well. And I also, my arms aren't long enough to reach the camera to accept you. All right, so I'm gonna get into a lot of free agency things, a lot of free agency moves. Um, we're gonna pull up all the moves from free agency. I also want to talk about James Harden opts in and request a trade. Okay, first deal was Tyrese Halliburton gets max extension, 5 years, 260 million. Also, just so you know, there was 1.2 billion in actual contracts. And I apologize, whoever that is trying to get me to accept them onto my live, but I am pre-recording and I cannot reach the cell phone from here as my arms are not that long. I don't have a 7-foot wingspan. Uh, Tyrese Halliburton to the Indiana. It's a no-brainer. He had 20, 10 assists, and shot on 40% 3 points last year. The first person in history to do that, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, what more can I say? Perfect fit for the Pacers. He's still young. He's only been in the league like maybe 3 or 4 years at most. Desmond Bain, Grizzlies agree on max extension, 5 year, 207 million for a fourth year guard. Um, he's clearly their second best guy. He's clearly the number two on that team. So if you didn't give it to him, who was you going to give it to? Heat deal Oladipo to the Thunder. Oladipo got traded back to the Thunder, huh? He didn't play all last playoffs anyways, and they got future draft compensation in return. Veteran point guard Monty Morris is being dealt to the Washington Wizards. All right, nothing really big. Jeremy Grant signs 5 year, $160 million deal. I know Dame wanted veterans. I know he wanted veterans, but Jeremy Grant can only be like your probably fourth best guy on a championship team. They still don't got their second best guy. Again, unless it's gonna be Scoot Henderson, you still ain't got your third best guy. I don't get what the Blazers are doing at this point. I really don't get what the Blazers are doing. Fred Van Fleet to sign with the Rockets. 3 years, 130 million. 3 years, 130 million. Wow, that's a lot of money for 3 years. That's a lot of money for 3 years. Somebody posted on Twitter why the Lakers or Facebook something like that, why the Lakers didn't go after him, because they couldn't afford 3 years, 130 million. I mean, you're talking about 40 million a year. 40 million a year. Would I pay $40 million a year for Fred Van Fleet? No way, no how. Rockets still don't even make the playoffs, probably. Um, that's another thing. These teams, man, they're paying dudes a ridiculous amount of money for zero winning, no winning. Because I don't. Fred Van Fleet, I mean, does he move the needle for the Rockets? A tad bit. A tad bit. A very tad bit. Not to the point where they're in the play-in. They're not going to be. They're not even going to be in the play-in. tournament as far as I'm concerned, unless they make some more moves. And they had, I want to say they had 70 million cap space, and they just gave 40 million to a a B-list all-star player, I guess you could say. He's not an A-list all-star player, he's a B-list. Kyrie Irving to return to Mavs will sign a deal for 3 years, 126 million. He got less than Fred VanVleet. And Kyrie has a championship. Kyrie averages like 25 to 28 points a game when he's healthy. Fred VanVleet ain't putting up those kind of numbers. I mean, it's crazy, like, what some of these teams overpaid for. Cam Johnson agreed. Oh, matter of fact, let me go back to the Kyrie Irving and Dallas Mavericks. What does this do for Dallas? They still got to make some moves. And all due respect, people that were saying, well, the Kyrie and Luka thing, it didn't work. I mean, they only played like a few games together. They only played like maybe 8 to 11 games together, if that. They didn't really get a chance to see what a full season of Kyrie and Luka could be. Cam Johnson has agreed to return to the Brooklyn Nets on a 4-year deal, $108 million. Shout out to former Tar Heel Cam Johnson for the Nets. I think it's a no-brainer. I really do. I really do. And that's the thing. You got Chris Middleton on a 3-year, $102 million deal back to the Bucks. I don't know if I'm sold on that. I thought the Bucks should have moved on from Chris Middleton. I really did. He's gonna have to play like he did when they won the championship. If not, he plays like he did last year, it ain't gonna work. Kyle Kuzma returning to the Wizards. Kyle Kuzma signs a deal, 102 million, 4 years. So Cam Johnson actually got more than Kyle Kuzma, and Kyle Kuzma actually scores more than Cam Johnson. But Cam Johnson is a better shooter. He's a way better shooter, but like, I don't know if I'm paying Cam Johnson more than I'm paying Kyle Kuzma. And Kyle Kuzma got a Panero's commercial after that, a Panera commercial too. I thought he would actually moved on from the Wizards and went to a bigger market, but maybe the market wasn't so big for him. Like, he got like 2 million. That's the thing. Cam Johnson and Kyle Kuzma got more than Draymond Green, who's the next one. 4 years, 100 million. Basically took a team-friendly deal, but he still got. I mean, he was only gonna make 27 million this year. Yeah, I don't know how much he's gonna make the first year of this new deal. It's probably like on the lower end, and probably moves up towards the end of the deal. But yeah, he's locked in for another 4 years, and that's probably all Draymond has is 2 to 4 good years. Jacob Pirtle remains with Toronto, 4-year, $80 million deal. Doesn't really move the needle. Herb Jones back to the Pelicans, 4-year, $54 million deal. They probably needed to re-sign him. He was a big contributor. This one's interesting. Lakers re-signed Rui Hachimura back to 3-year, $51 million deal. His market wasn't as big as they probably thought it was. 3 years, 50 million. I mean, that's not even 20 million a year. It's a little over 10 million a year. Bruce Brown signs to the Pacers, 2-year, $45 million deal. This could be one that hurts the Nuggets. There was a lot of talks of Bruce Brown to the Lakers. That apparently didn't happen. Um, this could hurt the Nuggets. The Nuggets are definitely going to have to figure out who they're going to replace with Bruce Brown. Now, they did have that Christian Brown cat who was a rookie last year. He'll probably get the minutes, and he did ball out. But I don't know if they're going to be able to replace Bruce Brown. Former Tar Heel Kobe White agrees to 3-year, $40 million deal. His market probably wasn't big. Kobe White didn't pan out to be as good as a scorer I thought he was going to be in the league. He was the all-time leading scorer in North Carolina high school basketball history. I want to say his freshman year, he was probably, I think he broke the freshman record for all-time scoring as a freshman. But it just hasn't panned out in the pros, man. And I thought he was kind of like a James Harden type of player. He had the crossover with the step back and super fast, like a John Wall mixed with a James Harden kind of player, but it hasn't really panned out. And he re-signed with the Bulls. Lakers signed Gabe Vincent. I didn't know how to take this at first, but I saw a breakdown on this. This one's interesting. The Heat let Gabe Vincent go. Lakers signed him 3-year, $33 million deal. Apparently, they can still sign Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell. And Lakers also signed another player, but I'll get to him. But apparently the Lakers can still sign D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves, even though I don't know if I would keep D'Angelo Russell. I don't like D'Angelo Russell. I won't keep him. But Gabe Vincent to the Lakers is interesting. Definitely interesting. Dennis Schroeder headed to the Raptors. 2-year, $26 million deal. He'll probably be the starting point guard, to be honest with you, unless they still got Gary Trent Jr. over there. I think that's his name, Gary Trent Jr. Doesn't really move the needle. This is another interesting one. George Nang joins the Cleveland Cavaliers, 3-year, $26 million deal. So the Sixers lost him. The Sixers also lost one or two other players. They're about to lose James Harden. They better hope they get something back for James Harden. They really do. They better hope they get something back. Joe Ingles signs 2-year deal with Orlando Magic. I like that for the Magic. The Magic got Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter, Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, a lot of young pieces, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz. They pretty much got their top two guys that they drafted in Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. It only makes sense for them to bring in some veteran experience like Joe Ingles. They probably need a little bit more veteran experience. They got Gary Harris, I think, still too, but they just drafted two guards. So more likely Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony or Gary Harris. Two of those three are more likely out the door, going to get traded at some point. Javon Carter, 3-year, $20 million deal to the Bulls. Trey Jones re-signs with the Spurs, 2-year, $20 million. Julian Champagny will re-sign with the Spurs, 4 years, $12 million. Reggie Jackson re-signs 2-year, $10 million. He didn't really play much. Here's another interesting one. Shake Milton went to the T-Wolves, 2-year, $10 million deal. So the Sixers have lost two of their key rotation players already. Here's another interesting one too. Taurean Prince signs with the Lakers. Kind of a 3-and-D guy, big long body out there for defense and whatnot. So Lakers signed Taurean Prince. They signed Gabe Vincent. They re-signed Rui Hachimura. Apparently they're gonna offer Austin Reeves 4 years, 50 million. Was it 3 years, 54 million? I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. And they can still sign D'Angelo Russell, even though I wouldn't really want to sign him. Kevin Love resigns with the Miami Heat on a 2-year deal. Seth Curry rejoins the Mavericks on a 2-year deal. It doesn't really say what the deal is. Damian Lee, 1-year deal, doesn't say what the deal is. Josh Richardson agreed to sign with Miami. So Josh Richardson resigns back with Miami Heat, which he probably fits with them because he's really just a 3-and-D guy. Trey Lyles resigns with Kings. Yuta want Watanabe to sign with the Phoenix Suns. I'm not familiar with who he is. Let me Google him. I want to see what position he plays. Asian big man, 6'8". They needed some size. Suns need some size. Nuggets bring back DeAndre Jordan. Derrick Rose signs a multi-year deal with the Grizzlies. I like that one. I like that for the Grizzlies because now you got Derrick Rose and Marcus Smart while Ja Morant is out, and you just lost Tyus Jones in the trade. So I like that. Josh Okogie reached an agreement, re-signed with the Suns. Troy Brown signs to the T-Wolves. So T-Wolves got Lakers and T-Wolves basically swapped 2 players on a free agency, basically. Troy Brown from the Lakers to the T-Wolves, and then Taurean Prince from the T-Wolves to the Lakers. Oh, this was another interesting one. I didn't see them talk about this one. Cam Reddish, 2-year deal to the Lakers. It doesn't say how much because Cam Reddish he's had plenty of time to prove if he's good enough to be a starter, and he's not. Nikhil Alexander-Walker returns to the T-Wolves. Diop joins the Phoenix Suns on a 2-year, $5 million deal. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a big man. What size is he? He's 6'8". Yeah, so the Suns are trying to get some size. They'd signed 2 6'8". Yeah, so that's what happened in free agency. A lot more probably to come because this is day 2, and you got Halliburton extension, you got the Bane extension, Oladipo got traded, and Morris gets dealt. James Harden opts in and requests a trade. Rumor is he's going to end up with Clippers. Good luck with that, Clippers fans. Because Paul George and whatchamacallit can't stay on the bench. And I'm hearing maybe a deal that might include Terrence Mann and Marcus Morris or something like that. I like that for the Sixers. I like Terrence Mann and Marcus Morris for James Harden. Probably some picks you got to throw in there as well. I don't know what the other options are. I don't know if Russell Westbrook. I doubt the Sixers would want Russell Westbrook. But I'm thinking Terrence Mann and Marcus Morris sounds like a pretty good deal to get back. Terrence Mann would be a good good bench player. Marcus Morris, you could have him play power forward. I think you still got oh boy, they signed a few years ago. I can't think of his name off the top of the head. Sorry, but Sixer fans, I don't care what y'all do. It doesn't seem like it's going to get you past the second round. What are you really going to get for James Harden? But maybe a third fiddle starter and a good bench player. But Terrence Mann and Marcus Morris for James Harden. I mean, I like it for the Sixers. I really do. You can have both of them actually come off the bench and whatnot. But there's gonna be a lot more deals today as well. James Harden is clearly saying that he only cares about money and not winning. Um, Clippers ain't winning with James Harden. So James and Russ gonna be on the team again together after they were on Houston together. I mean, what is this? We're like bringing Russ back with PG, Russ back with Harden. What is this, like a one big family reunion? In the NBA from the Clippers. I'm cutting bait. I'm moving on, man. I'm moving on. I am rebuilding. Yeah, there could be a lot of interesting free agency pickups today. So I'll probably be back again on tomorrow morning and whatnot to go through them. And I don't see nothing else anything that's really significant. Just all those free agent signings, no other trades really that make any real difference. Once again, I'm thank you for tuning in, Paul Pickett Podcast, and I'm out.